A wise prince makes even his enemies serve him. When betrayal cuts into your life, whether it is a colleague taking credit for your work or a rival mocking you behind your back, the wound is not only personal, it is strategic. You stand on a battlefield where every slight is a sword either pointed at you or wielded by you. The truth is clear: enemies exist, but weakness within is the first and greatest enemy. If you do not master your strategy, others will gladly master you. See the insult not as an injury, but as raw material. Every time you are opposed, you are handed a weapon. History shows this clearly. Opposition forged leaders who would have otherwise remained ordinary. Resistance builds muscle, rivalry sharpens perception. In many cases, the enemy is the very whetstone that forces you to become sharper. Treat every betrayal as a gift of pressure. Without it, you would grow soft, distracted, and complacent. With it, you are reminded to harden your defenses and sharpen your tactics. Do not make the mistake of thinking the enemy is only outside you. The deadliest opponent is your own lack of preparation. It is not the rival who undermines you that destroys your empire. It is your failure to foresee, to plan, to adapt. Your enemy thrives on your passivity. The moment you delay, the moment you drift, you hand them the crown. Refuse to play without strategy. Command yourself before you attempt to command anyone else. Consider a modern example. In a heated meeting, a peer openly challenges your idea. The weak response is defensiveness or anger. The strong response is calm precision. You pause, let silence disarm, then counter with a clear fact that cannot be denied. You do not fight for ego, you fight for position. In that moment, you turned their attack into your platform. Their opposition became your proof of strength. This is the opening battle. You either weaponize enemies or they weaponize you. Stop wasting energy wishing for peace. Conflict is not the problem, unpreparedness is. See every enemy as the stone that shapes your blade. Rule yourself first, and you will rule the battlefield. Turn every enemy into fuel for your throne. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This truth begins not with armies or kingdoms, but with the throne inside your own mind. Before you attempt to command others, you must first command yourself. The throne is vacant until you seize it. Your thoughts are subjects, and like any kingdom, if you do not govern them, they will rebel and overthrow you. A ruler who lets his court run wild loses his state. A person who lets his mind run unchecked loses his life's direction. Crown your thoughts. Imagine every impulse, every distraction, every surge of emotion as a noble demanding your attention. Some are loyal, guiding you toward discipline and clarity. Others are traitors, whispering weakness, hesitation, and self-pity. If you allow these rebels to sit at your table, they will soon rule in your place. In history, kingdoms collapsed not always from outside attack, but from the poison of corruption within. Your mind is no different. Guard it like a fortress. Decide which thoughts are allowed to serve you and exile the rest. Exile weak counselors. Self-doubt is the advisor that convinces you to retreat before the battle begins. Hesitation is the minister who delays until the opportunity is lost. Emotional noise is the jester that distracts you while your rivals advance. Modern life feeds these counselors daily. News cycles pulling you into outrage, endless comparisons on screens, chatter that drowns your focus. If you do not dismiss these voices, they will occupy the throne meant for you. Leadership of self means learning to cut the counsel short. You must be ruthless in deciding what remains in your mental court. Consider a moment of disagreement. In a team discussion, someone dismisses your idea with a smirk. The ungoverned mind reacts with fire, anger, defensiveness, the urge to prove yourself instantly. But the disciplined throne answers differently. You pause, you weigh, you respond with precision, not volume. You demonstrate calm strength that commands respect. In that instant, you ruled yourself, and by ruling yourself, you ruled the room. The first throne to rule is always your own. If you cannot command the territory within, you cannot hope to command the battlefield without. Every enemy you face externally will only exploit the disarray you tolerate internally. Claim sovereignty now. Do not delay, do not negotiate with weakness. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, for fortune is a woman and favors the bold. Nowhere is this truth more evident than in the first hour of your day. Morning is not a neutral space. It is the battlefield where you either seize command or surrender before the fight begins. At dawn, the world is quiet, but this quiet is deceptive. It is the silence before armies clash. What you do in this hour determines whether you march into the day as a general or stumble into it as a prisoner. Seize the hour before the world wakes. Throughout history, rulers, generals, and thinkers began their campaigns at first light. Armies moved under cover of dawn, knowing that the one who strikes early sets the rhythm for the battle. You must do the same. When others are still bound to sleep, you have already sharpened your blade. The advantage is not mystical, it is practical. The morning gives you clarity untouched by the demands of others. If you fail to seize it, you fight the rest of the day from behind. Command the silence. Rule the stillness. Treat those early minutes as sacred territory. Build your armor of routine. A soldier steps onto the field wearing steel. You must do the same with your habits. Ritual is not superstition, it is protection. The small disciplines you repeat each morning shield you from chaos later. Exercise becomes your shield of endurance. Reading or reflection becomes your helm of clarity. Planning becomes the sword at your side. When the world's noise strikes at you, you do not scramble for defense. You are already armed. Modern life constantly pulls you toward distraction. Routine is the wall that keeps invaders at bay. Without it, every demand breaches your gates. Lose the morning, lose the empire. Every lapse at dawn grows into defeat by nightfall. If you begin by pressing snooze, you have already declared retreat. If you drift aimlessly through the first hour, you hand your enemies fatigue, disorganization, self-doubt, the keys to your fortress. One missed step leads to another. The day unravels, and by evening, you are counting losses instead of victories. The battlefield punishes hesitation. Do not step onto it unarmed. The empire you seek to build in your career, your relationships, your health, its foundations are laid at sunrise. Ignore this truth, and you fight with broken walls. Morning is war. You cannot negotiate with it, you cannot delay it, you cannot outsource it. Seize the hour, forge your armor, and refuse to hand the enemy even a single inch. Command the dawn, and you command the day. Win the morning, and you win the empire. Stillness is not weakness. It is the unsheathed blade that cuts deepest when drawn at the right moment. The predator that waits unmoving in the grass is not passive. It is gathering information, conserving energy, sharpening certainty. The hawk circling high does not rush its strike. It watches, measures, and when it dives, the kill is immediate. You must learn to weaponize stillness the same way. The hawk's patience is a lesson written across history. Generals often waited for the enemy to expose a flaw before unleashing their forces. They knew that rushing into battle without clarity invited disaster. Stillness sharpens perception. It allows you to see what hurried minds miss. The small mistake in an opponent's argument, the weakness in a rival's plan, the hesitation in someone's voice that reveals insecurity. In many cases, it is the one who holds silence longer, who discovers the truth first. Train yourself to endure the discomfort of waiting. Look, Listen, observe. The enemy will eventually reveal themselves if you are still enough to notice. Silence is psychological warfare. Few things unnerve rivals more than composure they cannot penetrate. In a world addicted to reaction, restraint is dominance. The person who cannot stop talking exposes their strategy. The one who interrupts reveals impatience, but the one who remains silent creates uncertainty. Consider a meeting where tempers rise. One person throws accusations, another shouts defenses. You remain calm, watching. When you finally speak, your voice carries the weight of authority because it is rare. Restraint amplifies power. To those around you, silence becomes a mask of command. It suggests that you know more, that you are calculating, that you cannot be rattled. This unsettles even strong opponents because they cannot read you. Stillness also gives you timing. A predator that leaps too early loses its prey. A commander that attacks too soon risks collapse. By waiting, you create the chance to strike from the shadows when the enemy is most exposed. Hypothetically, imagine facing a rival who expects you to argue instantly. Instead, you pause, let the silence grow heavy, then deliver one precise line that ends the exchange. Your restraint transformed into dominance. Timing is everything, and timing is born from stillness. Do not mistake stillness for passivity. It is not withdrawal from battle. It is control of the battlefield. To remain calm when provoked, to wait when pressured, to strike only when conditions are perfect, this is mastery. Use stillness as a shield against provocation, as a sword against disarray, as the throne from which you watch others exhaust themselves. Silence is the sharpest blade. A kingdom does not fall overnight. It decays when poison seeps through its walls and no one cuts it out. A prince does not tolerate threats, he removes them. Weakness, once allowed to stay, multiplies. Tolerated disrespect becomes permanent. Submission. You must learn the law of ruthless elimination, for in both politics and personal life, what you allow will define what destroys you. Cutting away poison has always been the first duty of rulers. History is filled with leaders who understood that corruption, betrayal, or even a single disloyal officer could undo an entire empire. When rot appeared, decisive rulers removed it without delay. The lesson is clear. Anything that undermines your throne must be dealt with before it spreads. A toxic ally, a deceitful partner, a destructive habit, if not eliminated, each becomes a seed of ruin. You cannot build strength on poisoned soil. Cut early, cut clean, cut completely. In modern life, ruthless elimination does not always mean grand acts. It can mean soft but firm boundaries. You fire the employee who drains morale before they infect the team. You unfollow the voice that pulls your focus into endless envy or outrage. You block the contact who brings chaos every time they enter your world. These are small eliminations, but they are powerful. They send a message. Your time, your energy, your mind, and your respect are not up for auction. If something or someone consistently weakens you, you do not negotiate, you remove. Mercy here is often disguised weakness. Mercy as a trap is one of the oldest eras. A rival tests you once. They speak to you with disdain. They ignore your boundaries. They dismiss your efforts. If you tolerate it even a single time, you have knelt. You have announced that disrespect carries no consequence. From that moment, every future battle is harder because you surrendered the field at the start. Hypothetically, imagine a colleague who cuts you off mid-sentence. If you laugh it off without establishing your ground, you have trained them to treat you as a subordinate. But if you calmly finish your point without flinching, you send the opposite message. You will not be erased. This is elimination at the level of behavior, removing the possibility of repeated violation. Weak. It's fine. Maybe they didn't mean it. Strong. I do not allow that, and I will not accept it again. Weak. I'll try to work around it. Strong. This has no place in my world, so I remove it. Each word is a cut or a surrender. Choose your cuts. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty. It is clear. It is the recognition that empires are not defended by hesitation, but by decisive action. What you permit will destroy you. What you eliminate will free you. Be merciless, not toward people without cause, but toward anything that poisons your strength, your throne, and your path. Cut once, cut clean, and rule without poison. Power is never naked. It wears armor, masks, and theater. The one who commands without image does not command for long. Authority is not only about what you do, but what others see. A throne is not just a seat, it is a stage. If you wish to rule, you must wear the mask of command with precision and intention. The stage of power has always been decorated with performance. Kings draped themselves in robes, generals wore medals, priests held staff, and emperors surrounded themselves with ceremonies. These were not luxuries, they were signals. They told the people who were in charge, who could be trusted, who was untouchable. Machiavelli understood that appearances matter as much as substance, for men judge more by what they see than by what they know. The lesson remains, no leader survives without a mask. If you step into a position of command with nothing but honesty, you will be devoured. The world does not follow raw truth, it follows symbols. In modern life, masks remain essential. Status signals and charisma are today's crowns and scepters. Clothing, tone of voice, posture, and digital presence all shape how others perceive you before you speak a single word. A careless appearance communicates weakness, while a deliberate image communicates control. Weak. I'll just show up as I am. Strong. I will present myself in the way that earns respect. Weak. I don't care how it looks. Strong. I care because others judge by what they see. This is not deception, it is discipline. Controlling perception means refusing to let others define your role for you. You write the script, and you play the lead. Yet masks are not only worn by you, others wear them too. Rivals project confidence they do not possess. Competitors exaggerate their strength to make you hesitate. Hypothetically, imagine facing an opponent in negotiation. They speak loudly, smile constantly, and act as if the deal is already theirs. If you fall for the mask, you kneel. But if you see through it, spot the crack in their timing, the flicker in their eyes, you gain the upper hand. To command, you must master both sides. Project your own mask while unmasking theirs. Consider a disagreement. A peer dismisses your proposal with a smug laugh. The untrained response is to argue frantically, exposing insecurity. The mask of command responds differently. You remain composed, adjust your posture, and deliver a short, measured line that redirects the room. You do not scramble for approval. You project inevitability. In that moment, it is not just your idea that wins respect. It is your presence. The mask of command is not about living a lie. It is about protecting your throne from unnecessary vulnerability. You control what others see so that your true strategy remains hidden. You give them strength to follow while keeping your weaknesses private. This is not cruelty, it is survival. Without a mask, you are exposed. With it, you are untouchable. Wear the mask, command the stage, rule the throne. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, for fortune favors the bold. Every great strategist carried within a cold executioner a hidden force that acted without hesitation. This inner assassin was not aimed at people, but at weakness, delay, and indecision. Without it, rulers lost their crowns. With it, they survived storms that would have destroyed the unprepared. The historical assassin is not a myth. Kings and emperors who endured understood the necessity of decisive cuts. A monarch who tolerated betrayal did not reign long. A general who hesitated on the battlefield condemned his army. In ancient courts, hesitation was fatal because rivals moved swiftly. Those who acted without delay often lived while others fell. The lesson is clear. Survival belongs to those who strike. Cleanly, not endlessly debate. When the moment comes to cut away danger, you must act like the executioner, calm, precise, unshaken. But the assassin you require today has a different target. Killing hesitation is the duty of the modern executioner within you. It is hesitation that destroys opportunities, not enemies with swords. How many careers have been derailed because someone delayed one decisive move? How many relationships collapsed because words were never spoken? Your assassin must kill delay in its first breath. When the choice arises between acting and retreating, you must train your instinct toward action. Weak. I'll wait and see what happens. Strong. I will decide now and move forward. Weak. Maybe later. Strong. Now, while the field is open, this shift is the blade that clears your path. Merciless within, you must direct your brutality not at others, but at your own excuses. Hypothetically, imagine waking at dawn with the urge to press snooze. The assassin appears. It does not negotiate. It kills the excuse instantly and moves the body forward. Or think of the hesitation before delivering a difficult truth. The assassin within you cuts down fear and demands speech. This is not cruelty. It is self-rule. If you are merciful toward your weakness, it will grow bold. If you are merciless toward your weakness, strength takes the throne. Consider disagreement in a professional setting. A rival undermines your idea, expecting you to falter. The untrained mind hesitates, stumbles, or concedes ground. The trained assassin does not. You respond quickly, with one sharp factual statement that ends their advance. By eliminating hesitation, you seized control. You did not wound the rival, you executed delay. That is how the assassin inside you protects your throne. You must cultivate this part of yourself deliberately. Practice swift decisions in small matters so that in large ones speed is natural. Cut excuses before they form. Execute self-doubt before it speaks. Do not waste life negotiating with inner rebellion. The assassin waits for orders, and those orders must be ruthless. Kill hesitation before it kills you. Inside you live a timid sheep and a ravenous wolf. Which one grows? Stronger depends entirely on what you feed each day. The sheep seeks comfort, safety, and approval. The wolf hungers for challenge, risk, and dominance. History belongs to the wolf, not the sheep. Humanity did not survive by hiding in fields, but by stalking, hunting, and enduring storms. The ancient predator within you is not gone. It waits, starved by convenience, dulled by comfort, but alive. Your task is to feed it. The wolf carried humanity through fire and famine. Early survival demanded aggression, endurance, and cunning. Those who lacked the predator's edge vanished. Tribes endured because hunters ventured into danger. Armies prevailed because soldiers charged forward despite fear. The wolf inside you is that same inheritance, the drive to push when exhausted, to fight when cornered, to claim what must be claimed. The sheep is newer, a creation of abundance and safety. It thrives only in times of excess. The wolf thrives always. Recognize that your survival, your strength, your throne depends on feeding the predator, not the prey. Modern life, however, serves a steady diet of weakness. Social media feeds comparison and passivity, not hunger. Every scroll trains the sheep to bleat louder, to seek validation instead of conquest. Instant comfort, food delivered with a tap, entertainment available without effort, keeps the sheep well fed. The wolf starves in silence. If you live entirely in ease, your edge dulls. You may have more at your fingertips than any generation before, but comfort without discipline becomes poison. Weak. I deserve rest before I've earned it. Strong. I will rest only when the day has been conquered. Weak. I need constant ease. Strong. I create strength through chosen hardship. Each choice either fattens the sheep or sharpens the wolf. You must starve the sheep. That means denying the urges that weaken you. Do not give endless time to distractions. Do not indulge in comfort before the work is done. Do not let weakness sit at your table. Every time you surrender to ease, you are feeding the wrong animal. Instead, feed the wolf. Seek challenge. Train hunger. Choose risk where others choose safety. If fear whispers, move toward it. If difficulty rises, confront it. The wolf does not wait for permission. It hunts. Imagine a rival dismisses you in front of others, smirking as if you lack the strength to answer. The sheep within wants to retreat, to avoid conflict. But the wolf within answers with calm dominance. You stand firm, meet their eyes, and speak with precision that cuts through the room. You do not need to shout, you only need to show that you cannot be dismissed. By feeding the wolf, you claim ground the sheep would have lost forever. This law is merciless. You cannot feed both. If you try to keep the sheep satisfied while training the wolf will weaken. Strength requires sacrifice. Every empire is built by starving what is weak and feeding what is strong. You are no different. Choose carefully, for the animal you feed today decides the life you rule tomorrow. Starve the sheep, feed the wolf. Life is a chessboard. Every day you step onto the squares, and whether you realize it or not, you are either a pawn being moved by others or a player shaping the board itself. Enemies are not just obstacles, they are signals. They reveal the moves you have made and the strategies you have hidden. To live without strategy is to be captured before the game even begins. To live with foresight is to move toward checkmate while others waste turns. Machiavelli's world was a chess game played in blood and power. Politics was never about immediate wins, but about sacrifices and positioning. Princes who secured their thrones understood when to give up a piece for the larger advantage. They tolerated small losses to gain decisive victories. They placed loyal men like knights to guard their flanks, sacrificed pawns when necessary, and kept their true intentions hidden until the final move. The lesson is timeless. The one who survives is not always the strongest, but the one who sees further across the board. Sacrifice is not weakness, it is strategy. Modern life mirrors this game exactly. Your career, your relationships, your finances, all are fields of placement. You must know when to advance, when to retreat, and when to trade short-term comfort for long-term control. The business leader who invests profits instead of indulging today is not losing, he is repositioning. The professional who takes a lower role to gain vital skills is not retreating. She is maneuvering. Weak. I need to win every square immediately. Strong. I need to win the board, even if I give ground now. Weak. This setback defines me. Strong. This setback repositions me. By thinking strategically, you elevate yourself from pawn to player. Checkmate mindset means looking 10 moves ahead while others look only one. Hypothetically, imagine an opponent mocks you publicly, hoping to weaken your reputation. The pawn response is to argue emotionally, falling into their trap. The player's response is silence, patience, and a later move that exposes their weakness at a higher stage where the audience matters most. You do not waste energy on early moves that do not decide the game. You can serve, redirect, and strike where it counts. Enemies often reveal themselves too quickly, but you must never reveal your full strategy. Keep them guessing, and you remain the player, not the piece. The chessboard of life punishes those who move without thought. It rewards those who plan, sacrifice, and calculate. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every rival you encounter, they are pieces on the board. Use them, outmaneuver them, and never forget that your throne is the king to be defended. Protect it ruthlessly. Advance it deliberately. Play the board, not the piece in front of you. Discipline is not inherited. It is forged like steel in fire, hammered daily until the will is unbreakable. Without ritual, strength rusts. Without deliberate hardship, the throne of self-mastery collapses. Your empire begins with iron will, and iron will is not born, it is made. The ancients knew this truth. Spartans submitted themselves to constant trial, training in hunger, exhaustion, and combat from childhood so that no weakness could survive. Monks endured silence, fasting, and repetition to strengthen mind over body. Samurai sharpened their character through daily practice, shaping loyalty and restraint as much as swordsmanship. These were not arbitrary customs. They were rituals of fire, designed to burn away hesitation and forge leaders who would not break when tested. History shows that greatness does not appear in comfort, but in discipline repeated until it becomes identity. You must create modern iron. In today's world, deliberate suffering is rare, but that is exactly why it must be chosen. Cold showers teach the body to obey command rather than comfort. Workouts harden muscle, but more importantly, sharpen willpower. Waking early, fasting, or practicing deep focus are not trivial tasks. They are armor. They prepare you to withstand the chaos of the day without crumbling. Weak. I'll do it when I feel like it. Strong. I do it regardless of feeling. Weak. I need to be motivated first. Strong. I move first and motivation follows. Every repetition of ritual forges another plate of armor. The world is unpredictable, but with ritual you are already armed. Without fire, no blade exists. Weakness is rust, and rust spreads if left untouched. Hypothetically, imagine choosing comfort at every turn, pressing snooze, skipping discipline, indulging without restraint. Each small act is a speck of rust on the steel of your will. Ignore it, and soon the entire blade corrodes. Then, when life demands strength, you discover nothing remains. Fire alone keeps steel alive. Chosen hardship burns weakness away and preserves the weapon. If you do not place yourself in fire, the world will, and by then it will be too late to forge. Consider a moment of challenge. A colleague questions whether you can handle a demanding project. The untrained mind panics, doubts, and retreats. The disciplined one, shaped by ritual, answers calmly. You do not need to prove yourself with noise. You already know you can endure because you endure every morning through your own fire. This quiet certainty commands respect without argument. The blade forged in ritual does not tremble when tested. Make no mistake, ritual is not decoration, it is survival. Every day you skip it, rust advances. Every day you practice it, your steel strengthens. Choose discomfort now or face collapse later. Forge your will deliberately, as kings forged crowns and soldiers forged swords. Only iron endures the battlefield of life. Forge your will daily, or rust will claim your throne. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. The ruler who endures is the one who cannot be shaken, the one who becomes untouchable. This is the culmination of every law, to rise to a throne so secure that enemies exhaust themselves striking at shadows. To be untouchable is not to live without opposition. It is to live beyond their reach. Machiavelli's untouchables were rulers who outlived rivals not by brute force alone, but by cunning and foresight. They survived storms of betrayal and conspiracies because they removed threats before they could grow and built layers of defense that others could not penetrate. Some granted favors selectively, ensuring loyalty. Others spread fear carefully, so no rival dared move against them. Their survival was no accident. It was the result of deliberate design. They built fortresses of strategy, not walls of stone, and those fortresses made them unassailable. The lesson remains: you do not need to destroy every rival, you only need to position yourself where rivals cannot destroy you. In modern life, untouchability takes different forms. Financial independence shields you from manipulation, for the one who cannot be bought cannot be controlled. Emotional detachment shields you from provocation, for the one who cannot be rattled cannot be defeated. Social leverage shields you from isolation, for the one who commands alliances cannot be cornered. Weak: I need their approval to move forward. Strong: I move forward regardless of approval. Weak: I hope they do not attack me. Strong: they cannot touch me even if they try. This is modern armor. Every deliberate step toward independence, clarity, and leverage adds another plate of steel around your throne. The highest form of power is to become like a ghost on the battlefield. Hypothetically, imagine enemies sharpening blades, whispering schemes, preparing to strike at you. When they finally move, they find nothing to cut. Your finances are secure, your alliances protect you, your emotions remain calm, and your path has already shifted beyond their grasp. They attack the version of you that no longer exists. You win not because you crushed them directly, but because you built a fortress so high that their weapons cannot scale it. To them, you are untouchable, and their attacks only reveal their weakness. Consider a challenge in the present. A rival attempts to discredit your work in front of others. The insecure response is panic or defensiveness. The untouchable response is calm dismissal, backed by a track record of results that speaks louder than any accusation. You do not need to scramble for validation. You already hold the position they cannot shake. By preparing long before the conflict, you ensured their move fails. That is the essence of being untouchable. You do not react at the moment of attack. You design your life so that attacks are meaningless. Becoming untouchable does not mean isolation. It means building such strength, leverage, and discipline that no single rival holds the power to topple you. It is a throne built on foresight, not chance. Your task is to cultivate this state relentlessly until the battlefield no longer frightens you. Let others spend their lives in fragile positions. You will not. Rise beyond reach, and you cannot be ruled. Men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Machiavelli understood that enemies sharpen our instincts more than friends ever could. This is the final form, not avoiding conflict, not wishing away betrayal, but turning every attack into fuel. When you master this law, enemies stop being obstacles. They become instruments. Their fire forges your throne. Enemies are the forge. Steel is useless until fire and hammer shape it. In the same way, your strength is untested until someone opposes it. History shows that rulers who lasted longest were often surrounded by rivals. Opposition forced them to refine their strategies, tighten their defenses, and sharpen their minds. Without rivals, complacency sets in and decay follows. Think of it this way. Every challenge is a hammer blow against your steel. It hurts, but it strengthens. Enemies reveal your weaknesses faster than allies ever will. Their attacks point directly to where you must reinforce. Instead of cursing the fire, you thank it. You become sharper because of it. In the modern world, rivalries remain the engine of growth. Competitors force innovation. If you had no one chasing your position, you would relax, and your empire would rot. Businesses advance when rivals push them. Artists create their best work when challenged. Athletes break limits when others threaten their dominance. Even in daily life, haters sharpen resilience. The critic who doubts you is a weight you lift to build strength. Weak. They're against me, so I'm losing ground. Strong. They're against me, so I'm gaining strength. Weak. Their words cut me down. Strong. Their words harden my armor. Reframe the attack, and you transform pain into fuel. Your throne is built from their fire. Hypothetically, imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield. Arrows rain down. Each arrow could be death, but you gather them and build a fortress. You take the very force meant to destroy you and repurpose it into power. Without enemies, there is no empire, because no empire can rise without resistance. What defines a throne is not comfort, but survival against attack. To live untouched is not mastery. To live transformed by opposition is the highest form of rule. Consider an example of disagreement. A peer questions your decision in front of others, attempting to weaken your authority. The untrained mind feels insulted and lashes out defensively. The trained ruler remains calm, uses the moment to clarify the vision, and turns the challenge into a stage. The enemy's attempt to undermine becomes your opportunity to command. This is the essence of turning enemies into power. The same strike they thought would cut you down raises you higher. This is not about cruelty, it is about clarity. You no longer waste energy fearing enemies. You recognize their role. They are unwilling teachers. They pressure you into precision, patience, and strength. They are proof that you are playing a game worth fighting. If you had no opposition, you would be irrelevant. Their presence confirms your rise. Their resistance signals your importance. Their hatred means you hold ground they cannot touch. The final form is simple but ruthless. Never wish away your enemies. Use them. Let them sharpen your steel. Let them fuel your fire. Let them build your throne. When you rise untouchable, you will see the truth. Every rival was only a stepping stone. Without them, you would still be untested. With them, you are sovereign. Enemies are fire. Use them to forge your throne. If you fail to use your enemies, you will drown in them. Modern life proves this every day. The rival at work who outmaneuvers you, the critic who undermines you, the distraction that steals your attention. All of them will bury you if you refuse to turn them into fuel. You cannot avoid opposition. You cannot wish away resistance. The only choice is whether you are destroyed by it or sharpened by it. The warning is final. Every time you ignore an attack, you allow it to erode your ground. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you train others to treat you as weak. Every time you hide from conflict, you hand your power to someone else. Enemies will always exist, but if you do not weaponize them, they will weaponize you. The battlefield of life offers no neutral ground. Either you command the fire, or you burn it. Yet within this ruthless truth lies reward. History shows that the greatest leaders did not merely survive their rivals, they built empires on their backs. The presence of an enemy sharpened their strategy, hardened their will, and forced them into mastery. Competitors become rungs on the ladder of your ascent. Rivals become the grindstone that polishes your edge. Without them, you remain untested. With them, you become unbreakable. This is not theory, it is fact proven across centuries. Those who outlast opposition rise untouchable because the very forces that tried to end them became their foundation. Now the marching orders are clear. You must choose. Will you sit upon the throne of mastery, ruling yourself so completely that no enemy can topple you? Or will you kneel as a pawn of weakness, moved around the board by rivals who play a stronger game? Hypothetically, imagine two paths. On one, you reject the throne, and every insult enslaves you. On the other, you claim the throne, and every insult crowns you. This is the choice in front of you, and it cannot be delayed. Your throne awaits. Do not waste another moment feeding weakness. Do not squander another opportunity by hiding from resistance. Face your enemies, weaponize them, and build your empire on the very force that sought to destroy you. Turn every enemy into a step toward your throne.